Welcome again, everybody. Episode number 5.
Hi, everyone. How you guys doing?
This is Jake Carney.
And Megan Harris.
Megan.
We're so excited.
How's it going, Megan?
It's going well. It's going well. I can't believe we were just talking before the podcast that we can't believe this is our 5th podcast already. Thank you guys all so much for listening and reviewing us and rating us. We're so excited to be doing this.
Yeah, I said it again. I said it last week, but I'll say it again. We made it. This is it. We can retire now. Episode number 5.
That's it. We're actually coming to you live from Monte Carlo right now. We've just totally retired.
We just gave it all up and said, let's just bring our headphones and our big mixer with us.
And just go around the world. That's probably be a cool idea for like a movie or a documentary. We're just not interesting enough.
Yeah, I don't have the funding for that. Although if
Anybody
somebody does,
there?
we'll do it. We will do it.
Send us an email. So, Jake, I feel like I'm always sharing about things that are going on with me. So tell me what's been going on with you since last week.
Yes. So a couple things, actually. First off, I want to thank everybody for emailing us for the free hat.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was amazing once you say free, everybody kind of jumps. And we sold, I didn't say we sold out of the 5, but we...
50.
I'm sorry, sold out of 50. Sold out of the 50. We weren't selling anything. They were free.
We ran out.
We ran out. So thank you guys for all participating in that. Tons and tons of awesome comments for us. Thank you for that. Your hats will be delivered. It takes a while to get these things. 3 to 4 weeks is what I've been told. But we have everybody's address and information, so thank you very much.
Colin was so disappointed that we gave away all 50 and he didn't get a hat yet.
Oh,
he still has not stopped talking about wanting the hat since our Keys trip.
I might have one more in the garage.
No, don't even worry about it.
I might have one more in the garage. And then we also have other big news, too, is we're going to do another giveaway today.
Right. A really cool one, almost one that makes me want to create a fake email address and send it into you. When he told me we were going to give this away, I actually, for a moment, like a kid, got a little bit jealous.
Well, yeah, Megan looked at me and said, wait, are you serious? So we're giving away a Honda Elantra. And, or what do you know? What's it called?
It's a certified pre-owned. It's white, I promise. It's in pretty good condition.
That's so funny. We are not. We are actually giving away a free Berkey water filter. I was so excited about this that when I got this in last week. I think I told you guys on the podcast that I was getting it, and it came in the next day, and it's absolutely unbelievable.
It's really cool. It almost looks like one of those silver coffee holders that you would see at a hotel or something. It's sort of futuristic.
It's stainless steel.
It's really nice.
It's really nice. It's beautiful on the counter. It was a fight to put on the counter, but I told Gina, I was like, look how beautiful this is.
It's practically art.
Yeah, and it sits right next to the coffee maker, which is awesome. But the funny thing was when Megan came in, she saw it and was just gawking at it. And so I actually, excuse me, and this is what I've been doing with everybody that comes in. I have to give them a taste test.
Yeah, he's actually going to become a salesman for Berkey.
I am. And so I actually filled up one cup of just tap water and 1 cup of Berkey water and gave it to Megan. And no BS, she did say that she liked which one?
Oh, no, the Berkey water. Yeah. So much better. You really, really, really can taste the difference. No doubt about it.
It's refreshing. It's softer going down. I actually was doing some just water testing with my pool test and stuff like that. And the tap water here is actually not that terrible in terms of chlorine, but it does have a little bit, it's a bit more acidic than I'd like. And it's, the Berkey takes care of all of that. I also got the bonus fluoride filters for it too. So it takes out the fluoride in the water. Nice. It takes out a ton of, heavy metals and things that, your Brita and all this other stuff doesn't take out. So further along in the podcast, again, I'm not going to tell you when, and I'm not going to tell you how yet, but I will tell you an easy way to get a free Berkey water filter.
And this is really awesome because it's actually valued at $250, and we're going to ship it to you, take care of everything like that. So just keep listening, and we'll tell you how somebody's going to win that later on.
Yeah, it's cool. And I've also been filling up everything that could possibly take water with it.
The pool.
The pool is now filled up with Berkey water. But again, as they said, you can literally put your pool water in there and filter it out. It's
That's crazy.
And people even say you could pee in it. I have not tried that yet.
Whoever wins it, you have to do that. That's part of the giveaway.
Although my dad did come over and he was like, "Can I pour some of this beer in there to see if it would work?" And I think you can, but I guess it just kind of decreases the lifespan of the filters. So we did not pour any beer in there.
I was going to say it takes all the fun out of the beer.
So we will be giving away a Berkey later on in the podcast.
So speaking of water, how's this for a transition? You were fishing on Sunday.
Very good segue.
Right?
Very good.
See how I'm doing that?
Yeah.
And you did not send me a picture of this.
Because we didn't catch any fish.
Oh, no.
Sorry
to bring that up.
We went fishing and not catching. So it was so funny. I took out it was me and 2 friends that we went out. And it was so funny. As on the way out, it was one of those perfect days, glassy, just beautiful. I asked one of them, I was like, "Have you ever seen a waterspout?" And they said, "No, never seen a waterspout." So we're fishing, and then you kind of see these two massive storms that are coming that are all the way offshore, and we were about 3 miles off, and it was coming towards us. And so we decided, well, you know what? It's still early. We don't want to call it a day. Let's just go past it.
Let's ride into the storm.
So we went past it. And so we were about like 3 miles out, and then we decided that, to get past it, it was actually a lot farther than what I thought it was. So we were actually ended up about 10 miles off.
That's really far.
You can still see some of the condos. But we came around this massive storm, and the seas kind of picked up, but I kind of had this good feeling we just need to get on the other side of it. And as we're kind of like approaching this massive storm, like this big cruiser ship comes out of nowhere, and you're like, oh my God. So we kind of avoid that. And then we look to the right, and not again, but no BS. There was a waterspout right there. It's probably a lot farther than what I thought it was, but I would say within a mile of us, you saw this waterspout. So we all kind of stopped and looked for a while, and I was like, we should probably get out of here, but this is really cool to look at. And then we saw another one right after that. So we saw 2 waterspouts we encountered while we were out there.
I'm totally picturing that movie based on the book, The Perfect Storm.
Yeah.
It's like all the fish.
I was George Clooney.
Yeah, well, naturally.
Yeah, full beard.
With all the hair and beard.
Yes, yeah. It was really cool, and we never felt nervous. We'd always had, everything was in control, and of course, when you're out there, you never know what could happen. But we were all fine and completely sober too. So we just decided to come wrap around that storm and start fishing again and didn't catch anything. There was a fish that did get on the line, and brought him up to the boat, and as soon as he came to the boat, he went and just spit out the hook, and it was
Well, did I tell you that when I was at that wedding in Panama City Beach a few weeks ago, they went shark fishing? And I was like standing on the shore when they pulled in an 8-foot hammerhead shark. It's so crazy. They just drag it in. I mean, the shark is okay. Obviously, I was so concerned about the poor shark. But the shark was fine. They drag it in. They're allowed to tag them, and then they send it back out. But, I mean, it's crazy.
Well, the most dangerous part of that is when they actually have to put it back in the water. Because you have to grab it by the tail and walk it backwards.
Lead it in. It was so crazy.
Yeah, those things are massive. I've with the same friend that I was out with, we actually went snorkeling. We were only like in 12 feet of water, and we jump in, and this is like our first jump in of the day. And you see this massive, just kind of like shadow come, and like when you're in the water, you see a shadow come, you're like, oh God. And it actually turned out to be, from our best estimates, it was a 10-foot hammerhead. Cruised right by us, within 5 feet of us.
So scary.
And you want to talk about kind of like we were talking about flow and stuff like that. Nothing goes through your mind at that point. Because you think like you're going to be like, oh my God, blah, blah, and you freak out. And you just literally it's cool because you're kind of in the moment. And you see this just massive thing go beside you. And you're like, oh my God. It was really cool. I love that. And then we jumped on the boat and like kind of hung out for a little bit. I was like, what else do you want to do? And my buddy was like, we're not going to see anything close to that cool.
Might as well just back up and
let's
go
just
home.
kind of just head back in and hang out and let's go to the bar.
It's so cool how nature is like that. I posted a photo on our Instagram, and you can follow us on Instagram if you'd like. It's at The Alternative Daily. Susan, who we had on our podcast last week, our head content producer, she lives out in New Mexico off the grid with her 3 daughters. And she always posts the most amazing photos. And I posted one last night of a sunset that she has in her area. And it's so funny because I was talking about how it's like literally no filter out there. You don't need any sort of editing. It's just so incredible. And the wildlife that she sees out there. So it's really, really cool how we have such a completely different experience than she does.
Her driveway, it takes her 10 minutes to get down her driveway.
Really?
10 minutes. And we talk every day, and she's like, why don't you come out? Why don't you come out here? I was like, because once you land, you then have to take, a 3-hour car ride to your house. And then once you think you're there, you have to take 10 minutes to go down your driveway.
It's probably a cool place to go for like a vacation, like a literal retreat to totally unplug.
Yeah. This is coming from somebody who lives in South Beach saying this right now too.
Well, I would love to unplug.
No, but the picture she shares, and just even the stories, like the different
amazing.
Animal life that comes up there, and it's awesome. It's good for her. I could not do it. I'd love to go visit, but
certainly
a 10-minute driveway is tough.
Jake doesn't like to go 10 minutes from his house anywhere. His office was 5 minutes away, and we haven't even been there forever.
That's true. And we no longer have that office.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Couldn't take the commute?
No, just didn't want to do it. So the first topic that we actually want to get in today is, it's so funny. It kind of came out of nowhere last night. We were talking about what we were going to talk about. And I
was totally shocked about this. As a disclaimer, I still almost can't believe it.
And I'm just trying to do the math in my head. It's true. I was saying, I thought Megan knew this, and so I was, we were texting back and forth. So what do you want to talk about? We have these other topic ideas. I said, what about, my 50-pound weight loss? And she was
so casually he says this.
she was like, what?
I literally was like, excuse me, what? Obviously in all capitals with lots of exclamation points and question marks. Because if for those of you who don't know Jake, and obviously many of you do not know Jake or have never seen him before, he does not have the kind of build that you would ever imagine. And as a woman, it's always so frustrating when you see guys like this. My boyfriend is the same way. Just like really long, lean guys. My boyfriend is the kind, it reminds me of those commercials. Have you ever seen those like weight loss commercials, those diet commercials where it's like the cartoon of the man and the woman and the lady's like, my husband and I both decided to go on a diet. So far, he's lost 9 pounds. I've gone up 2 sizes. And it's like men and women lose weight differently. I would never, ever think that you would be 50 pounds heavier.
Here, well, I do want to show you something. It's actually my driver's license, which I guess is the pure proof of it, because this was taken 10 years ago, and you can just kind of just look at.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Even your neck. Wow.
Yeah, whatever that neck is, right there. So kind of, I was heavy at that point. I was 220 pounds, and what happened there was
college.
Well, it's kind of cool because here's the story. As I I was always really active in high school, and I played, soccer, football, I swam, just constantly active, right? And got to college and played soccer in college, and again, still active doing all this stuff, and you kind of have extracurricular activities, but still, we're literally practicing at 6 a.m. and and 6 p.m. 2 days, and so it's always in shape. And then my final year, it was a conscious decision. I'd always been in shape, and so I went into college. I was like 170, and 6-pack abs, and just really lean, and just kind of
hot.
Thank you for saying that. That's what I was gonna say. I probably had just hair just like you. Just blonde, long, flowing.
God,
locks.
You sound gorgeous.
Thank you. I probably would have put up in a man bun too. But so funny. Senior year, I decided that I wanted to be fat. And so I actually made a conscious decision just to gain weight. Yeah. It's
everybody listening is like collectively rolling their eyes.
I promise you, because I was just, it was such a weird feeling. It was like, you know what? I've always been lean and, thin. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to worry about.
Who wants to be attractive?
I do not want to, worry about what I'm eating or anything. I literally just, I don't even care anymore. And so I commenced eating a lot.
Were you dating Gina at the time?
Yes.
So there you go. He's like, I already got the hot girlfriend.
I already got her.
I'll just let it go.
I'm just gonna let it go, and I did, and I'm flamed up. I went from 170 to 220, and probably in a matter of it took a little bit longer. It took about, I would say, a year to put that on, total. Jeez. Yeah. And it was literally, and it's
work.
It was really work, because I remember going to eat, and we went to I never went to the dining hall in college, and I went one time during my senior year. I remember just eating platefuls of mashed potatoes. I was like, I just want to go to the point where I'm just complete, and so I would eat till I was complete every single time. And here's the weird part is, I didn't eat breakfast or lunch. It was just, I was gorging myself at dinner.
That's like the worst thing you can do.
And it all tasted so good. So good. I mean, probably Mexican every other night. And not good Mexican, just kind of really bad Mexican. And and so where I went to college was in this kind of, it's called Farmville, Virginia. It's exactly what you think in your head, just a bunch of farms. And so there's these old greasy spoon diners. And there was one place called Merck's or whatever. And Merck's you could get pizza and a Philly cheesesteak. And so we would just destroy all of that, just, get that and eat that. And again, some of my roommates and friends, they put on some weight, but I was just known as just Jake's the fat one now. And I would just just eat a whole pizza in a sitting, drink tons of Coke, just did not, I just did not give a shit. I was like, this is it. I'm blowing up.
What was Gina saying? What were your friends?
It's so funny. We talk about it now. She was like, "You were so fun back then. What happened?" Because I literally just did not.
True.
I did not have a care in the world. Did not have a care in the world. And so, it was literally, there was a lot of beer drinking during the day, and then, eating this at night. This surpassed dad bod. This was at the point where
this was you ate a dad.
Yeah. Yeah. So the kind of funny story was I always even when we go out to dinner. And then we'd have beers or whatever, and then at night we would sit there and if I even got the inkling of being hungry, I would just eat. And so the funny story is I would always eat popcorn. I think I shared this earlier. It was I do microwave popcorn with melted butter and Parmesan cheese, and I'd pass out on the couch and there'd be Parmesan cheese all over my face. And that's how people remember me in senior year. So
when did you turn your life around?
So we moved to Florida after college. And I I actually continued just to gorge myself, and I was like not even worried about it at that point because tan makes fat look good. So I would just lay out and get a tan, which is true, right?
I picture this like big fat guy at a pool with like rubbing baby oil all over himself.
I used baby oil. I did not have like the gold chain or anything, but
he had the pinky ring.
I had the pinky ring. No, I was very tan but very big. And so I eventually became more active. I started surfing more, started snorkeling more, and started diving more. And it was a kind of like a turning point for me. Was I went out surfing one day just by myself. I was so out of breath, like I couldn't catch a wave, couldn't stay up on it. It just sucked. And I remember I had to come in to take a break because I was just too damn tired. And so I came in. And I was pissed because I love surfing. It's awesome. So I remember just sitting there. Board beside me, nobody around, board beside me sitting like on the beach, kind of hands on my hips or my hands on my on my knees or whatever. And then I was so pissed. I was like, I can't even stay out there. I'm so out of shape. And then I literally started punching my belly. And it's kind of weird, maybe from a psychological standpoint, but I was just so pissed. So I literally just started like punching my belly. It's like, what? He's like, what the hell am I doing right now? And from that point on, it was kind of a cool thing. Like there's no tragic thing that made me lose weight or anything like that. But it was one of the things where it was holding me back from doing, something that I absolutely loved. And I just couldn't do it. And I remember going surfing with my buddy Hobie. We'd go all the time. And there were some times where I just couldn't make it out because, the waves were, it was just tiring me out to get out. And I would sit on the beach, and it would suck. And so that turning point of when I couldn't stay out there much longer, I was punching myself in the. Could you just imagine if somebody's like walking by, like, what the hell's going on with that guy? So I was literally just punching myself in the belly, and then I realized that, well, this is stupid. I shouldn't be punching myself in the stomach. And then from that day forward, I actually decided to clean up my diet. And I didn't know much about dieting back then. There wasn't like, oh, now I have to go all organic and do all this, do all that. I just knew that I couldn't sustain eating the way I was eating. And so what I actually ended up doing was I got rid of actually all meat in my diet because it was not the good type of meat. And I didn't know anything about this back then, but it wasn't the good type of meat. So I actually substituted with fish. So any type of protein that I was getting was just all fish-based. And so I changed that up. I started eating a little bit of breakfast. I'm still not a big breakfast eater, but just getting something in the morning, and started eating lunch. And then I also just started running every day. I hated running in college. I hated running in high school, but it was kind of cool from a stress relief standpoint. I'd put on some music and some tunes and just run. And I ran, 2 miles a day, got up to 4 miles a day. Now running, as we all know, it's not going to sit there and tone you up, but if you're out of shape, it's going to drop some pounds. And so through changing my diet and getting rid of fried foods, and I was drinking probably like one or actually, I'd probably say like 2 to 3 Cokes a day.
Yeah, that's one of the quickest ways for people to drop
just getting
pounds.
that out.
Just stop soda, and you will lose weight over the year.
Yeah, and so I definitely did that. I cut back on a lot of the beer too, and then just being active, and then just going running and enjoying it. And it's funny because I'll still hear. I don't run as much as I did back then, but if I'm in the car and I plug in my my iPhone or whatever, and I hear certain songs, it literally takes me back to when I was fat and running down the beach. But it was really cool. So that was another thing too. I'd actually go running on the beach as well, and when I get done, I jump in. And so I did that, and it took me, I would say, 2 years to get the 50 pounds
twice
off.
as long, probably.
And I got down to 170, and it was Gina said I was too thin. She said I just looked really bad. Right now, fighting weight for me is about the 178 range, and that's what I'm at right now. But I got down to 170. Now, big reason why I got down to 170 because I think I hit 175, and this is terrible. But I actually ended up getting food poisoning, which was the absolute worst. Because the funny story with that was, it was Gina's family reunion, which I've always had mixed feelings about. Sorry, in-laws. Those are never fun to go to.
I don't think anyone likes this.
Thank you. So we went, but the day we were supposed to go, I actually had really bad sushi at a place, and so
that's the worst.
Violent food poisoning coming out all ends, right? All ends. And I was pleading with Gina. I was like, can we please not go to this? Can we please not go? You go. I'll stay here. No, we already got tickets. We got to see so-and-so, Aunt so-and-so, and Uncle. And I'm like, oh my God. And we take our dog Lucy at the time. We only had one at the time. So here I am in a plane having to get up every 10 minutes to go use the restroom.
Terrible.
And so this continued for once we got in. I actually never came out of I was in a bright pink room. As the house that we were staying at, Gina's dad's house had this bright pink. It was awful. I was absolutely terrible. I just remember looking around just being surrounded by pink. I love pink. My wedding band is pink, but just being surrounded by just pink feeling like that is just terrible. And so it's coming out all in. So I actually had to go to the hospital. They pumped me with fluids.
Oh, wow, that's
Here's
terrible.
the worst part of that story is that
You were still at the family reunion?
still at the family reunion. Hi guys. Hi Stanziones. We were still at the family reunion. And Gina had to go on a work trip after that, so she had to fly out somewhere. So I had to fly back solo with the dog, still sick. And this is after about 5 days, just like still sick. And, having the dog underneath the seat and then having to get up and go to the bathroom, make sure that obviously you want the dog to be okay, absolute worst. So when I came back, I actually lost like 5 pounds because I didn't eat anything. So actually, that's how I actually got the 50. It's really like 45 all on me and 5 from food poisoning.
Thanks, Rice House down the street.
Oh, it was terrible. I don't even think it's still open anymore. It was
Thank God.
It was like one of those like sushi buffets, and it was like it tasted fine.
It sounds good in theory.
It sounds awesome.
Sounds like a dream,
cheap, right? It's $13. Oh, you can eat sushi.
Oh,
yeah,
fabulous! Sign me up.
And it didn't even get me out of going to the family reunion. So that was my 50-pound weight loss story. I'm guessing you've never.
Well, I mean, I've had different things. I mean, no, I've never had that much weight. I've maintained about the same weight since I was, for a long time.
Yeah.
It's funny though, like as I get older, obviously, and as I work out more, I find that even if you get smaller, and a lot of people out there, especially when you're on your journey of maybe losing weight or getting in shape, you might start lifting weights. That's one of the best ways to lose weight and get in shape is actually from lifting weight. And ladies, you don't have to be afraid of lifting heavy weights. I'm sure you've seen articles and read research about the fact that they encourage people lift heavy weights. And it's funny because now as I get older and I get smaller or I stay the same size, I'm very happy with how I look. It's funny, I'm actually probably about 15 to maybe 20 pounds heavier than I was when I graduated college.
Yeah.
About 7 years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm in better shape now than
all
I
muscle?
ever. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's what I'm saying is I'm in much better
shape. She can kick my ass. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I could take anybody out there that's listening to this. But I'm in better shape now than I ever have been in my life. And I think what's funny is you have to not really focus so much on the number that you see on the scale. And for me, the best thing that I do, because I don't weigh myself. I mean, I know there are some people out there that'll say when you're losing weight, start weighing yourself all the time.
Do you never check in? You never kind of step on a scale to see what you're at?
Never check in. No, I check in with my clothes, how my clothes fit, how my clothes look on me. Can I still zip up my jeans? Gotcha. Sometimes like I'll put on things that maybe were a little bit smaller and I'm like, oh my God, I can fit into this.
That's funny
again.
because during that period of being 50 pounds heavier, once we left Virginia and moved to Florida, they kind of like had to buy a whole new wardrobe because they had to throw all the winter clothes away. And I had to give away all of my clothes once I lost the weight because like I was wearing probably I think it was like 38 waist stuff and it was it just didn't fit, and so like everything looked so bad on me. And the funny thing was when I left to come to Florida, I had to buy a couple suits to go on like on interviews and stuff, and they were terribly over, just too big. A friend told me, he's like, are you gonna wear your Steve Harvey suit to this interview, or what are you gonna do? And I was like, that's the turning point. I do not want to have a Steve Harvey suit.
Just the big oversized suit, looks like a kid dressed in his dad's suit.
Yeah, so I do not right now. I'm about 34, occasionally a 33.
But how tall are you? You're very tall.
6'2".
Yeah,
so 6'2", and I weigh about 178, 179. I do check in just on the scale, just from a curious type of thing. Just like we'll see, hey, what am I weighing now? And maybe it's just because of having that 50 pounds weight
probably.
on me. But yeah, and so and the one thing I actually wanted to talk about too, which is still into this, which is when you go to the gym, like, do you have like a workout in your head? You're like, I'm going to lift 800 pounds over my head 13 times, and I'm gonna do this. How do you do yours? Do you have a trainer, or what do you do?
So obviously I've scaled it very differently throughout time. When I was starting at the gym, and for anybody out there that's thinking about joining a gym, my biggest suggestion to you guys, and I am by no means a trainer or an expert at all. I would say maybe my fitness level is maybe at intermediate advanced, but I started just like everybody else, not really sure what to do. And I learned just from watching other people at the gym. Most of the time at pretty much every gym that you sign up for, they'll give you a personal training session for free. So I would always encourage people to take advantage of that. You can be upfront with the trainer, as I am. I just joined a new gym. It was a year ago in April, and they offered a free comp training session. And I said right up front, I was like, look, I'm not going to purchase training sessions. So if you don't want to spend your hour with me, that's fine. But most of the trainers want to do it anyways. It's good for them. And so I learned a lot just from watching people and reading a lot of magazines and sort of getting in shape that way, like, you know, seeing.
So you kind of have your own regiment in your head.
So now I have regiments, but I also do. It's funny because about 6 weeks ago or so, my boyfriend that I've talked about, Colin, on the podcast before, he's in like incredible shape and he works out even more than I do.
Yeah, he's a good looking dude.
Yeah, he's really in great shape. So he actually started a program. There's tons of websites and stuff that you can go to. And as silly as it sounds, and we're not affiliated with them at all, I'm just telling you from my personal experience, even bodybuilding.com, that's like one of the staples out there for websites. You can actually go in and fill out like all this information. It takes 2 seconds and they'll give you like a free personal training plan. And so for the past 6 weeks, I've actually been following a personal training plan, but it's funny because Colin's doing it as well. And of course I scale it. I can't lift the same that he can, but it's so funny because the guy that leads the plan is like a mountain. I mean, he's freaking huge and sort of scary looking, like really scary looking actually. And it's so funny because I'm nowhere near that. I mean, I weigh 130 pounds.
Now, does Colin want to get to that level?
No, but that's the thing. It's you can sort of scale it any way you want. So it's I'm sort of looking at it like in the sense of these are the exercises that this guy is saying to do in this certain day, these many reps, these many sets. But when I work out, I usually try and divide my days between an upper body day, a lower body day. I like to do a boot camp or an exercise class, you know, something that's going to really be more cardio based, maybe a spinning class or a cardio class like a boot camp. And then I like to do a day or two of yoga. So I go to the gym about 5-6 days a week. Yeah. And then, but now I've been doing this plan where I'll show you a photo of this guy after the podcast. I mean, I'll show you now. He's really, really scary. And it's funny because when Colin first sent me the plan, I was like, I don't want to look anything like this guy. It would be impossible to. That's the other thing that ladies need to understand is you're not going to look like these giant muscle men. It's not possible for ladies to look like giant, you know, huge
muscles. They do have those like competitions where they're all oiled up and looking orange.
And well, and that's so unhealthy. And the gym that I work out at, a lot of people, listen, it's a lifestyle thing that I respect. It takes more dedication than I would ever be able to put into it. But the thing is,
do you really have to paint yourself orange, though? I mean,
I mean, they do the crazy spray painting because it makes the muscles show more.
Oh my God, look at that guy.
That's the guy that's leading the plan. So he's kind of scary looking.
Do you have to get a tattoo once you get to that
I'm going to
level?
get tribal tats all over my biceps. No, but I see a lot of girls that do it. But that is so much more than just being in the gym because that is diet.
And do you have to wear a tank top when you're in the gym, too?
Oh, yeah, I wear my muscle shirts.
So you have to wear a tank top.
Shorts.
You have to have tattoos and a cross around your neck. He's a good holy man. Cool. Well, good. He's awesome. I mean, he's obviously...
Yeah, he leads a great plan, but there are so many. Yeah, there are so many plans. I mean, bodybuilding.com. I read a lot of fitness magazines like Self and Shape and Women's Health. So, but honestly, it started just like how everybody else is at the gym. I got in there and I didn't really know what to do. And I ask people even now. Recently, I was trying to do a new exercise and I asked one of the trainers at the gym if they could critique my form. Yeah. I mean, that's what they're there for.
That's awesome.
You know, I take advantage of that.
I was telling you, I was doing I think it was like
you were doing the Shaun
T T25 workouts in the morning, which are cool. I did like the whole like 8-week program or whatever.
Shaun T's the guy that started, for those of you out there that aren't familiar, he started the Insanity program. And the gym Equinox that I belong to, they have an Insanity class based on Shaun T's program.
Crazy.
It is so hard. I cannot catch my breath.
When I was looking at which one to do, I was looking at Insanity. That came up and like immediately was like, nope, not doing that one.
So scary. Anything called Insanity, you just know
I'm
you're
a
in for
father
it.
now. I have a mortgage. I do not need to be doing Insanity. So the one I was doing was the T25. It's like 25 minutes. It's like, you know, it's cardio, weightlifting. It's a whole bunch of things. Like, it was good, right? It was good, very good. So I did that for 8 weeks, and
you do look buffer.
I did not
told you that
do
last
before
week.
and after pictures. I refuse to do that, but I can see it. I can see a difference.
I could see a difference when I saw you last week.
Thank you. You can say that multiple times throughout the podcast.
I think maybe it's because he's buying smaller size shirts.
That is
I'm
true.
not really sure.
That is true. But what actually happens is I got kind of bored doing them. It's like so hard to sustain that stuff, right? It's like, you know, now I got to get up and have Shaun T kick my ass again. But why? I'm done with the program. So, so I kind of took a little bit off. Like I took about 2 weeks off from doing that. And the other day I was like, you know what? I want to do something in the pool. I love to swim. So what I actually did was something similar to what you did. And I've never done this before. So I actually went and just kind of Googled and found on YouTube a bunch of different pool exercises. And Amanda Beard, do you know who Amanda Beard is? She's a really hot swimmer. She
That's great
Olympic
motivation
swimmer.
alone.
Yeah, she gave a couple different exercises, and some other people did too. And so I kind of like got together, and that's actually right beside you. It's all wet.
Oh, he has like a wet, crumply piece of paper. That's his whole routine.
Because it gets wet as you kind of go through. So what I've been doing is I created my own thing where I do like 2 minutes. I do like a warm up of like laps for like a minute or two, right? And then you do what they do sprints, where like high knee sprints, where you're really trying to go as hard as you can. Do that for 2 minutes, then laps, and then high knees, then laps.
Yeah, you've got push-ups on the wall.
That's a kind of cool too. That's a cool thing too, which is you kind of just go up to the side of the wall and like literally push yourself up, and then you submerge yourself back down.
That's great.
Yeah, it's really cool, and to do all this stuff just literally took me 15 minutes, and I feel awesome after it, and like you really don't even sweat.
Yeah, of course not.
You're just in the pool, so it's awesome. It's nice and refreshing. So those pool exercises, if you have a pool or if you have a community pool, especially during the summertime right now, don't go out there at noon and start running for 4 hours.
Oh my gosh!
Just just jump in the pool because there's so many cool things you can do in there, and it's just fun. And like time goes by like that because it's just a lot of fun here in the pool.
Swimming is actually even more so than running or any other cardio-based exercise. For those of you out there that don't know, swimming is actually, they say, the best full body exercise that you can do. Oh, research. I mean, I've read it on multiple
things. It's my inside joke. If anybody says,
who is they?
Who is they?
I've read it many times.
People in the sky.
But swimming is actually the best full body workout that you can get because you're toning your entire body and you're working your core the entire time.
Oh, yeah.
It's insane. I mean, if you've ever tried to swim, it's funny. If you ever try to swim now that you're older, I mean, I was a kid and I was always on like the swim team and stuff growing up. And, you could swim and swim and swim and swim laps. But it's really hard to swim.
There's no fat swimmer.
No.
Like Olympic swimmer. Or
Not
even like around here, a lot of people go free diving and stuff. And I've done that, but not the crazy depths. But there's no fat free divers.
No, it's hard.
And I will tell you, I know a lot of spear fishermen and free divers. They don't eat the healthiest because they're just kind of coming in from the boat and they're just going to go to the bar and eat and have a beer. But just from the exercise that they get, and you're holding your breath too to do all that stuff. When I was free diving, that was when I actually lost all the 50 pounds, and kind of kept it off. I was doing a lot of free diving, and it just. I didn't change much of a diet. It just toned you. You're holding your breath. You're diving. You're doing all those things. It's a full body thing.
So for you swimmers out there, we salute you.
Yes. So moving on to our next segment, we're actually going to dial in. He's actually a mentor of mine, David Sigler. He, when I started the Alternative Daily, he was somebody who was asking questions about of just kind of ideas and directions on what to go. And David surpasses me in terms of my knowledge of this stuff. And so I wanted to actually ring him up and tell him he wins a new car. Again, making a joke. We're not pranking him. We're going to do a prank phone call show one time. But so I'm going to call David up here right now, and I'll give him more of an intro once he's on so he can be humble and say, no, he's not that great.
He really is, though, you guys, one of the nicest people. Every time that we do videos for the YouTube channel, he's so wonderful. I love that you can hear the ringing.
I know. That's kind of cool.
What if he doesn't answer?
We can leave him a voicemail.
Hello.
Oh, there he is. Mr. Sigler, how's it going?
Very good. Hey, Jake. Hey, Megan.
Hey, David.
How did you know it was us? Well, I guess you have caller ID. Huh?
Crazy how that works.
It's funny. Last week, as we kind of set this whole thing up, I was asking Megan, I was like, I got to turn off call waiting on my phone. She looked at me just completely deadpan and said, what's call waiting? And I was like, when somebody calls you and it beeps in, that's call waiting.
We were talking today about, I was asking Jake if he has a landline. David, do you have a landline at home?
What's your definition of a landline?
Like a house phone.
A house phone.
A house phone. Something that plugs into a wall.
I have a voice over IP phone. So technically,
no.
I'm saying no.
Right. So isn't it crazy to think that like Jake, your daughter Noah, will never have a landline? She'll never have her own phone
like the
in her room.
Mickey Mouse phone.
I had a Mickey Mouse phone actually.
I always kind of like the sound of like the old style ones that kind of had they actually had like a bell in them. You know what I'm talking about? It was like those little big square boxes and stuff.
I think now you can get your iPhone to do that ring.
Yeah. And then I also
guys, I'm the old guy. I remember rotary dial.
That's exactly where I was going next. Rotary. Did you ever use rotary?
No, I don't even know what we're talking about.
That's when you put your.
Of course,
it had like this
rotary dial. I was a kid. That's all we had.
Not me.
And I was asking Megan. They have like this. It's this round thing. And they have like 9 holes in there. Or
I've
10 holes.
seen it on TV.
Yeah, and you put your finger there and like kind of like turn it down. It's like
I've seen it, but no, never had.
My grandparents had. I loved using their phone. I was like, this is so cool. Yeah.
So, anyways,
there's a lot of people who only have like touch screens now. They don't even know about push buttons.
I know, that's crazy.
I remember when.
We we should bring back rotary phones. So David, as I was giving a quick intro for you, I introduced you mildly as my
The biggest jerk we know.
biggest jerk we know. No, Megan said that you're the nicest person she's ever met. And actually, that doesn't say much. She lives
I don't
in South
know a lot of
Beach,
people.
So David has actually been my mentor for for as long as I've been doing this, and it's he's been a great guide, a great mentor in terms of direction of the Alternative Daily, and David is the true expert in this field in terms of alternative health and wellness. He knows the ins and outs of it. And David is an older gentleman. I'll leave it up to him if he wants to share his age, but in awesome shape, but then just eats well. He is the best eater I've ever come to know at all. I mean,
and you don't mean a piggish eater.
No.
No.
That we already went through that. I went through my 50-pound weight loss story, in which I literally ate like a pig, which was fun. I mean, it was a cool time. I'm glad I did it. But David is definitely the master of healthy eating and overall wellness. And so when we were talking about what we wanted to discuss with David, you can kind of talk about everything in terms of just like healthy food, organic food, but there's a specific, when I do things, I like to do it from a specific angle. And there's one thing that anytime I talk to David, and we talk about, how he's doing, what's he eating, everything always comes back. He does this every single day. I don't know if you call it eating or drinking bone broth. Bone broth is kind of like David's staple. That's something that David, I don't want to say dies by, but lives by. This is something that he's got me onto. I'm still kind of an extreme amateur when it comes to bone broth, but David literally has some sort of bone broth in his fridge every single day. Even when they're on vacation or go places, he brings bone broth with him. And
absolutely.
So David, tell me, what is bone broth?
What is bone broth? Well, here, I got a story for you because actually I had to, we all learn something at some point in our lives, and I had to go back to the time when I learned it. It was a number of years ago, probably just only 3 or 4 at this point, but I went to an osteopath up in Canada when I was living there. And great guy, really neat. He's born in France, actually UK trained. He's been practicing in Canada for many years. Now, his version of osteopathy is actually pretty different than what's practiced in the United States. For all us United States types and listeners, when we think osteopathy, it's not necessarily the same variance. In fact, the way he describes it is dramatically different, but that's a story for another time. Anyway, so on my first visit, he looks at me. He's across the room. Like, he hasn't done anything. He looks at me, and he makes some cute reference to, like, King David or something, fine, whatever. And then he says, your kidneys are stressed. And I was like, oh, okay. Now, I've been practicing healthy eating, actually, for many years, and although what you said about bone broth is absolutely true, it's a foundational part of what I do, I've been 100% gluten-free for years. I've been, I only have refined sugar and lots of things to sort of the story of the core things that I do to make sure I can sort of keep a healthy lifestyle. But this was a new one on me, kidney stress. I'm like, okay, fair enough. I didn't think I was doing that badly at this point. But so, I mean, how many of us go to the doctor and the doctor looks at you, hasn't touched you, hasn't done anything, hasn't even asked you, and then says, you got a problem. I'm telling you what it is. It's not normally our experience. And I know because I've been around. I have a good friend who's actually a medical doctor, and she actually told me that her training in sort of Western allopathic medicine, like 40 years prior, had essentially no training. It was 4 hours of training on health and wellness and prevention.
Right.
4 hours. So I know that doctors typically I wouldn't consider them as go-to people for diet, but this guy trains in the UK in osteopathy says to me, kidneys are a problem. I said, okay, fair enough. And he goes, in fact, kidneys is the core of health. If you don't have good kidneys, you're in big trouble. I'm like, okay, fair enough. That's fine. And so he says, tell you what you need to do. You need to have organic chicken broth first thing in the morning. Well, kickstart your metabolism, but most importantly, it's going to massively help rejuvenate, fix your kidneys. So I said, oh, okay, fair enough. And of course, already being sort of what I thought was healthy, I go do some more research, and I find out that kidneys are kind of the waste disposal system of your body and really your blood system. And I find out, wow, that's kind of obviously important. I get what he's saying. And I mean, it's kind of the analogy of if you have, all of us like to keep hopefully our garbage cleaned up. We don't just leave it lying around our house for days on end. Now that I live in Florida, that's particularly a bad idea. Imagine if we just didn't take care of our kidneys. It's like just not taking care of your garbage around your house. So I'm like, okay, got to do my kidneys. What I'm going to do, bone broth.
Kidneys are important. Yeah.
Kidneys are important, absolutely crucial. So for the past 3 years, basically ever since, I've been having homemade organic chicken broth first thing in the morning, or for me, first thing is like half an hour to an hour after I get up. And this is, I don't want to be prescriptive. It's not about, this is, for me, I don't eat like a big meal. People say breakfast is crucial, but now there's research like, yes, it depends on the person and their metabolism. Exactly. And for some people, eating a big thing in the morning, and like I would feel not very good. Well, hey,
I don't feel good when I actually eat a big breakfast in the morning. If I have like big eggs and stuff like that, or it doesn't sit well with me. So
absolutely, and that we need to listen to our bodies. If our bodies say don't do that, then it's like that story, doctor, it hurts when I hit my head against the wall. Stop hitting your head against the wall. So fair enough. So I'm okay. Good. I'm going to do this. So I get into this, committed, go for it. My wife and I, a homemade organic chicken broth every morning. And like I said, I've been doing it for 3 years.
Awesome.
Actually, slight confession, Jake, is that I always have it. Right at this moment, I actually don't have any. I've got my chicken out, and I'm about
of all the days.
I know. I'm a liar now. You charlatan. You don't really do it, do you?
You have me held up with some perfect guy. I mean, and by the way, the nice thing about that is our bodies, they heal themselves. They're not. If I miss one day out of 300, the world's not going to end. So I start getting in a bad habit when I have a problem. But anyway, just to be
that's how I feel about my organic beer I have every night. So David, in terms of, so you said, the doctor said chicken soup, you're talking bone broth. Is there a difference between the two? Because some camps are extreme against, are extreme of what bone broth is against, chicken broth. Can you do me a favor and explain the difference between the two, if there is one?
Absolutely. Not really a difference. I mean, the reason I do organic chickens is they're readily available. They're relatively easy to find, relatively inexpensive. Yes, they tend to be more expensive than the non-organic varieties, but we eat really clean and make sure we do that. You can use beef bones. I've certainly had it with beef bones. You could use even lamb. I've heard that used. I've never tried that. I kind of like lamb, but I have a mixed relationship with lamb. I'm not sure about it. Fish, you could use fish. And again, I'm not sure fish is it's going to give you all the exact same benefits, but just to mix things up, I think it's a good thing to do too. And in terms of just how I make it, a lot of times I find that people get concerned about, making stuff on my own. I'd rather just go buy something in a can and heat it up. Well, fair enough, but that is making a choice that's probably not quite as good as the alternative, which is to make it on your own. But it's really not that scary or difficult. My wife and I, we'll cook a chicken, or maybe sometimes two. We'll take the meat off the chicken. We'll throw all the bones, skin, whatever. We'll throw them all in a pot, big soup pot. Stainless steel we use. Don't use any Teflon type items. And then we just cook it.
How long?
And we add water. We add some onion. We add some celery. Sometimes we'll throw in a bay leaf. We'll put garlic. We'll maybe throw a few peppercorns. That just sort of, peppercorns are nice because a little bit of stuff that comes off them will kickstart your metabolism a little bit more. A cayenne pepper is good for that too, by the way. Sometimes we'll throw in carrots. We always throw in a tablespoon or two of apple cider vinegar because that has a really great effect on bones to break them down, and particularly get sort of the calcium out of them. And then after we cook that between 12 and 24 hours, you need to cook it long enough that it really...
Is that like on a low simmer, or is that like a constant boil?
Yes. No, very low simmer the whole time. In fact, we pretty much try to avoid any boiling. We get it hot enough, of course, but we make sure that if you get it to that point where there's like a little bubble coming up, that's good.
Yeah.
Certainly a simmering thing is even a little bit too hot.
Oh, okay, cool.
But the trick is 12 to 24 hours, and after that, just take it off the heat and cool it, put it, refrigerate it, freeze it.
Now,
and you can't eat it quickly. Do that. Sort of
now, do you like to eat it as soon as not as soon as it comes off, but like when it's like fresh, or do you just immediately put it in the fridge?
from a health perspective, it makes no difference.
I'm saying from a flavor.
Because we're always making enough to. I do have my first close batch often right away. I'm the guy who also sticks it in the fridge, and of course you have to strain it. You can imagine all the things we just described. It's not something. And not something I would just chew on all those bits, and they're not very palatable because the act of simmering, of course, takes out the flavor of almost everything. And if you cook the whole chicken when you were making it, and including the meat, which you can certainly do, you'll find the meat's not all that palatable either when you have it. You can chew on it; it's not bad for you. It's just what is it specifically
about bone broth that makes me awesome?
What's happening? Well, and let's look at the kidney health. That's not the only thing it's good for, but the kidney is because it's sort of the blood cleaning mechanism of your body. It needs certain things to thrive and do well, and there's a lot of nutrients that you get in bone broth that really help your kidneys. Calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, there's silicon. There's something called chondroitin, glucosamine. There's trace minerals.
Awesome.
It actually helps build your collagen, which is what's needed for healthy skin. Gelatin is a huge thing. People have probably heard about gelatin. Gelatin's critical for healthy digestion.
And that comes directly out of the inside of the bones. Is that correct?
That's right. Gelatin comes out of the inside of the bone, and it's really great. In fact, I was reading something on the Alternative Daily because
that's a good website.
Lots of great articles on various subjects, including this one on the alternativedaily.com. And it also can lower your need to have protein, which kind of makes it a cost saver to have bone broth, because instead of thinking you have to have tons and tons of protein, and protein is very good, by the way. We're big fans of protein with the Alternative Daily, but it actually can limit the amount of protein you have to consume, because protein tends to be a more expensive part of our diet.
Now, how often do you have to actually make your bone broth? Are you making it once a week? Are you making it? And obviously, it all depends on your inventory of it. Your stash. What does David do?
Great question. The key is to always have some on hand, and you happen to call me on one of the rare days I don't have some on hand. But the key is so bad planning on my part. But the key thing is to have enough that you have some on hand. I have about a cup when I have maybe even a cup and a half, probably a cup and a half. And you ask about, do I drink it or do I eat it? My wife will say I eat it, and I don't know what I say and she'll say that because when I, quote, eat it, I make a lot of noise. So stop slurping it.
You're a loud eater, huh?
Yes, but she likes to put it in a mug for herself, and then clearly she's drinking it.
Like sipping it, like almost like a morning coffee. I actually, as I've said before, I'm not a sweet guy. I'm a salty guy, and to kind of sip on something like that in the morning sounds unbelievable. I actually I don't do it every day, and it's something I'd like to do more of, because I'd like to.
Well, you know how we talk about anti-inflammatory things. Bone broth is one of the best things you can have as an anti-inflammatory, and that's great because our gut gut health is central, as we've written about and talked about a lot.
Yeah.
And bone broth also helps massively with your gut health because it helps repair the lining of your intestine and everything. So it's just all around awesome.
I like it.
So it's one of the coolest parts of my sort of healthy diet, and I am 55 years old. I hit that Freedom 55, Freedom 55 as they call it in one of the ads up in Canada. And so now I can live officially in 55 plus community.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that on the bone broth. I mean, I'm sitting here salivating on it. I know Megan was definitely interested in it.
Yeah, no, that sounds great.
And I want to jump into a quick other topic right here because you brought it up, which was you cook things in a stainless steel pot. We've written about this on the website, and obviously it's so funny. It's something that we've written about a lot, and it's been written about for a while now in the kind of the alternative health world, and now it's becoming more mainstream. Is the ditching your Teflon Teflon pots and pans for alternatives. I currently use ceramic because it's still nonstick, which is really nice. And then I also use a cast iron as well as stainless. And then David, you mentioned that you use your stainless, correct?
We use stainless for cooking. We have used cast iron as well. Cast iron is great, like health-wise. I just find it's a little harder to care for.
Yeah, it is.
We do also use the really high-quality ceramic ones. I think you can probably get lower quality. We always go for high quality, but you can get a really high-quality ceramic. They tend to be expensive. They last a long time. And the beauty of the ceramics, I'm looking at one right now in the kitchen, You can get various sizes of those, and they can handle very high heat. The biggest problem with Teflon, we have all these neat inventions, and I don't know if people know, but Teflon, of course, was invented by DuPont. It's a chemical called polytetrafluoroethylene, or PTFE. Sort of already sounds like something you don't want near your food, but that's another story. It really, it seems if you keep it at very low temperatures,
right,
it's probably okay.
Yep.
The problem is, of course, what is the definition of a very low temperature? So I've heard people say, 250 or 300, and some say it's above 500, and there's science behind this. Here's the problem, though. No matter what, even the people who are proponents of it, do you really know exactly what the temperature of your pan is when you're cooking?
Yeah,
and my view is sometimes
it's either hot or medium. That's something I cook on.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if it's 372 degrees and at 375 it starts being a problem or whatever. I don't know that. Yeah. So I just prefer not to have them because it's safer. And what happens, and some people are worried, is it the material that comes off little chips that you ingest?
Yeah, that's
the problem.
I've seen it done. Yeah, the chipping off is really not good.
Turns out that's not really a problem, though.
Really?
It's an inert substance. It'll go right through your system. It won't get digested. It's fine. The problem is in its gaseous form. In other words, when it gets too hot, it off-gases. And when it off-gases, it'll off-gas into your food. And actually, interestingly enough, it'll off-gas into your room when you're cooking.
Yeah.
And they have, I think, something called like Teflon flu, and it's been attributed fairly scientifically and clearly to Teflon off-gassing. And so if you're in a room with that happening, and you might get the flu-like symptoms afterwards, it's possible it's because of that. And again, I'm not slamming the product. I don't like to slam things that way. I'm just saying it sounds like it's a health issue and risk, so why bother even having it around? So I take the chance.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the cast iron. It's kind of like I go into it's the whole experience of cooking, and so it's kind of the whole care of it, and it's just kind of like a different style, and it's it's fine. I use the stainless and I use the ceramic too, so we just opted not to use any more Teflon. So
right.
Cool. Well, David, thank you very much. That was definitely eye-opening when it comes to bone broth, and I know that I'm going to start making some here shortly in my stainless steel pan. Yeah.
Thank you so much,
David. And Megan, you didn't get to interact with me. What's up, man?
I know. Well, I was really just taking all of this in because I was actually thinking about, even more so than when you were talking about making bone broth, a lot of times I like to make a lot of soups, and I roasted chicken. I try to roast one like once a week. And I've always heard, they always say, even on like the Food Network, chefs will say, don't throw away your bones. You can always do something else with them. And a lot of times they'll say, use the bones and make stock. So this is actually a really cool way to kind of repurpose stock. But I think it's cool that I like that you said, it's not the same thing as going out and buying like a box of chicken broth at the grocery store.
And just drinking it.
And just drinking it. You will not get the same effects. And also sort of just moving on from the pots and the pans, and even like eating organically, something that, because when I was transitioning into eating all organic too and updating things in my life, yes, it is very expensive, that sort of initial paying a little bit more for something. But somebody said one time to me, and it really resonated, was if you're thinking about spending a little bit more money now, you are going to be saving a lot of money overall in the long term when you think about how many less health problems you'll have and how many less trips to the doctor or the hospital you'll have later on. So it's like, if we can do things, right now that are, purchasing organic products and they're $2, $3 more, per pound or for those vegetables versus the non-organic, if that adds on life, in your years to your life or less visits to the doctor or hospital later on in life, then it really is kind of a negligible amount of money, I think.
Yeah. And it's
what a great pitch, and I mean, I love that. And actually, for me, because I'm the old guy here, it really matters as you age. What you said about sort of quality of life and health and day to day and longer term health concerns, because after all, how many of us want to sort of die unhealthy and go down terribly? It sort of reminds me of that ad they talk about where you get the two pictures. I think it's a neat ad. They give two pictures of how you can take care of yourself now. And one picture, the person sort of old, decrepit, dying, looking horrible, and in a hospital. And the other person, of course, they're with their kid and their grandchildren or great-grandchildren having a great time. Now, obviously, it's an ad. I get that. But the point is, take care of your health now, and one of these lifestyles is more likely than the other.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that quote, take care of your body. It's the only one you have to live in.
That's right. Oh my God, there's a snake out back right now.
Really?
Yes. Jeez, there he is again.
Oh my God, that's so cool. We're broadcasting from the rainforest.
Yeah,
right
this
now.
is. Oh man.
So we shouldn't call you Jake the Snake.
You know that I've been called that my entire life, has been Jake the Snake, and I was so terrified. As I said before multiple times, my daughter has actually. I've been terrified of like snakes and tomatoes have always been like my horrible thing.
Tomatoes?
Yeah, I've always hated tomatoes.
I had a friend in college that was terrified of
just,
tomatoes.
like I would throw up if somebody like ate one in front of me. But Noah likes them. Like Noah loves tomatoes and she loves snakes, and so like right now, like before, if I saw that, I would literally have like freaked out. Even though I kind of just freaked out like a little girl. But
he's standing right now on top of the table.
She loves looking at snakes, and so like now when we go to the zoo, I have to look at snakes and stuff, copperheads and everything, and I'm getting better. I don't want to say I'm okay. I would never have a pet one, but
I had a roommate in college, and she had 2 pet snakes, and we used to like play with them all the time.
You had to feed them too.
I was never around for that, but yeah, I mean, we always knew when they were being fed.
Yeah, one of my good friends, he actually listens to the podcast. He lives out in California, but in college, Mark actually had like a python. I think his name was like Slither or something like that, and we watched him feed it one time, and it was like,
it's so sad.
It is so. I mean, it's so bad. I mean, in college, it's like one of those like, oh my God, look at this thing, yeah, go, and it was just like, oh, but then you feel so bad. It's like this, the mouse is right there, and boom, gone.
Well, my roommate, she actually was getting like killed mice, and like they would come, she'd buy them frozen, because her snakes, they were like these 2 little corn snakes. I mean, they were long.
Yeah, corn snakes,
they were beautiful, but I mean, they're still snakes, and one of them was, I think, like 2.5 feet, and the other one was like 4 feet, and they were beautiful, and one's name was Lady, and the other snake's name was Shmee, and we used to she used to get these frozen mice, and I remember I would come home, and it was like if we ever saw like a coffee cup sitting on the counter with like warm water, because that's how she would defrost it.
Oh my God!
We'd be like, nobody go in the kitchen. It would be terrifying.
Unless she was making bone broth, she was just kind of
she was very progressive,
like
making bone broth.
Wait a minute, you guys. I'm really confused here. We're talking about snakes. I actually like snakes. Snakes are cool. I have nice stories about snakes. Snakes are fine. But Jake said he was scared of snakes and tomatoes.
Yeah,
now,
tomato.
He then talks about snakes. Snakes, that makes sense to me that you're scared of snakes. Surely our listeners are wondering, tomatoes?
Well,
have
you
ever seen VeggieTales, Bob?
No,
I love VeggieTales. I grew up with VeggieTales.
Yeah, are you freaked out?
It's I think it's the smell and the flavor of it. And when I was younger, I remember I just never liked them. They were just like so disgusting to me. And I was in a friend's backyard, and he had like a little tomato patch, and they decided they were going to start throwing it. And they were throwing them and trying to hit me, and I was like, please, guys, just don't do this. Just do not do this. And I'm not kidding. The guy picked one up, threw it at me. It hit my chest and exploded. As soon as it exploded, I vomited right there. Oh. It's just like that. It was just like, oh. But now, like, I've definitely evolved. Wow. I love, like, I wouldn't eat salsa back then. Red sauce was no. Pizza, whatever. It's kind of just like processed,
I mean,
puree,
anybody
whatever.
will eat anything if it's on pizza,
exactly.
right?
But now, like, I can eat them chopped up. I can't, like,
bite into a tomato.
Yeah, that's so weird to me.
Yeah, that's weird.
But I'm working on, like, I actually diced a tomato 2 weeks ago to do like a little bit of a salsa. So I'm evolving on the subject. I'm getting there.
All right.
But actually, this is a perfect segue. And David, I actually wanted to have you on just for this one last segment, which was we're actually giving away a Berkey water filter. And how we're actually going to do this. And the reason why I have David on this is because I got mine in the mail last Friday. I want to warn people, if you get one of these, or whoever's our winner is going to be, it does take a little bit of assembly. It took 2 of us to put this thing together, and
it's not huge or anything like that.
I think it's actually like 20 inches high.
It's something though that everybody out there. Sorry to jump in, but you guys have to know that it is something that requires to be plugged in.
No,
you just have it plugged in there.
There's no plug there.
Oh, that's for the espresso machine.
That's for the espresso machine.
All right, you guys have to stop listening to
me.
Yeah,
it's
gravity felt. Yeah.
It doesn't look, and once you're finished doing it, it doesn't look amazing, but
I think it looks really
David,
cool.
don't say that. We just spent the first part of our podcast talking about how cool Jake thinks it is.
It looks so cool. It's stainless steel, but it did take, it took David and I probably 25 minutes to put this thing together.
How did David do it with you?
We're literally, he's holding one half, I'm holding
You were
the
here,
other.
David?
Yeah, David was here last week.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. And so it took us
it
took us about 25 minutes to put it together. But once you have it together, it's pretty dope.
You got it together for life.
Yeah.
I'm sure it came with instructions, right?
Kind of. We actually had to Google it and YouTube it too. So this probably is not a good segment for the Berkey water filter customer service team. But if they are listening, the instructions weren't that good. Like, there was a washer, and we're like, do we put it this way? Do we put it that way? Oh my God, what do we do? And it's like, this is just a water filter. Let's just jam it on. So
I can't put together anything.
Yeah. I did have to YouTube it, and we eventually got it. But everybody was wet. Dave and I were both wet.
Is it working, dude?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, it's great.
Awesome. Megan did a taste test before this.
I did a taste test. Yeah, it was awesome.
So here is what we're going to do. Here's how you're actually going to get your free Berkey water filter.
Valued at $250, by the way. And we're going to ship it to you and everything.
Yeah, we have one to give away. And so here's what you got to do. Is you got to email jake@thealternativedaily.com. Subject line for this one will be snake. Let's just, we're just going to wing it right now. Yeah. Subject line will actually have to be snake in the subject line. And in the body of the email, you actually have to write a question that you want us to answer live on air. It's got to be a legit question. It can't be like, NSFW, not safe for work. It's got to be a legit question.
What's Megan's phone number?
And so you actually have to, so subject line is snake. And in the body of the email, you actually have to ask us a question. And again, if you are listening and you are doing this, we also obviously ask you to write a review, etc. But I wanted David to be on for that segment because he did help us put together the Berkey water filter, which tasted awesome. And David wasn't sure if there was going to be a taste difference, and there definitely is.
There is a taste difference.
Yeah. David, thank you for joining us. We just have one last segment we're going to wrap up real quick, but thank you very much.
Thanks, David. We'll talk to you soon.
Great. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Awesome. David's a good guy.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
Yes.
All right, so what we have to do now, since we are wanting you guys to send us in one of your questions, or everybody to send in a question you want us to address on a podcast, is, as we've been doing the past few weeks, is we're actually taking listener questions and people that write in to Jake and on the website, which is thealternativedaily.com, and of course on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Everybody's always contacting us through all these different ways.
Yeah. And we actually have two questions. And I'm going to go for the first creepy one, which is to Megan.
And just so you guys know, as we've told you before, Jake and I don't really do a lot of talking other than, like the hi, how are you? Jake really likes to keep us not talking about anything that we're going to discuss in the podcast because he likes it to feel really fresh and natural. So I have no idea truly what this question is going to be.
So this comes from Steve. I think Steve has the hots for you. Steve out of North Carolina. And Steve asks, Megan, I've seen you on YouTube and you look good.
Thank you, Steve.
You're in really great shape. What is your typical daily diet consist of?
Oh, all right. Well, thank you, Steve, for seeing our YouTube channel. And just so you guys know, it's not like I'm just randomly floating around YouTube. The Alternative Daily does have a YouTube channel, although my reel is up on YouTube as well. But the Alternative Daily does have a YouTube channel if you guys want to ever see some cool videos that we've shot. So a typical diet for me is I like to eat really, really clean, or I try to. Again, I've talked about on the podcast before that I do allow myself to have a cheat meal or even a cheat day every now and then. I'm certainly not perfect, but let's just say a day like today or a day like yesterday. A typical day for me is I always wake up and I have hot water with lemon. And recently I posted this on Instagram about a week and a half ago. I got this really cool superfoods, like organic green powder, when I was at Costco. And even though I eat a lot of fruits and veggies and multivitamins and all that, I still like to get as many in my system as possible. So I'll do a scoop of like a superfood powder in my hot water with lemon, and I drink that within 10 minutes of waking up. And then I typically on a normal day, I will have I like a sprouted grain toasted English muffin. I'll put half an avocado on that with a little bit of red pepper flake and a little bit of pink sea salt. And depending on how much time I have in the morning, I might add just like 1 or 2 scrambled eggs to that. So I like a pretty big breakfast. Yeah. I never used to eat breakfast in the past couple of years since I have to eat before I work out. Now I wake up, even if I don't work out first, I wake up hungry.
You'll have eggs before you work out?
Yeah, I have to. The way I work out and stuff, I need that kind of food. But I won't work out then for like an hour and a half. I give myself like an hour and a half. So yeah, I'll have a sprouted grain English muffin with half an avocado and an egg, perhaps, maybe a hard-boiled egg. And then for lunch, I usually, because I always like to cook dinner, I usually have whatever last night's leftovers were. So in the instance of today, that will be a piece of grilled mahi-mahi with some salad on the side, and I made some roasted red potatoes. So I always have a piece of protein for lunch, either with quinoa or pasta, brown rice pasta or brown rice. I always have a carb and a protein for my lunch because it's typically after I've worked out.
Yep.
And then I don't really snack that often throughout the day. I know people are always saying that you should eat every 3 hours. You should have a snack. If I do snack, I'll have a little bit of cottage cheese with some fruit or a piece of fruit, something like that. I don't really get hungry for a snack during the day. And then for dinner, again, tonight I'm going to make grilled chicken with sauteed kale and some Israeli couscous. So that's what I'll have for dinner. So I really do eat a pretty big blend of protein and carbohydrates and fruits and veggies. Again, I'm not somebody that says, oh, I don't eat carbs after 6. If I want pretzels or cookies or something tonight after dinner, I will allow myself that. I also have, like a glass of wine or 2, 4 or 5 nights a week.
Oh, I thought you said a glass of wine or 2, 4 or 5.
While I'm cooking, and then the other half of the bottle.
It's fun to do that. Like when I cook and stuff, when I grill out, and
I love to drink while I'm cooking.
Yeah, I love to have a beer.
It makes me feel like a grown up.
Have you seen that YouTube video when the lady says, and 2 shots of vodka, and she's making something, and she literally pours like half of it?
That's that funny girl that has a YouTube channel that how she like it's called like Drunk Kitchen or something.
I don't know.
There is a girl that is like blowing up. She has a YouTube channel.
Is this the older lady or?
No, this is a girl. She's got like short. She's kind of like got a cool like sort of hipster look. She has this YouTube channel where she cooks, but she gets totally hammered while cooking. I mean, listen, she's getting really famous for doing that. So good for her.
This one was like I think it was like taken from like a cooking show.
Oh, well, there's that girl Sandra Lee. On the Food Network that's always making cocktails.
She just said like and add 2 shots of vodka, and she literally was like pouring it in there, like half of it, and it's just fun.
I want to go to dinner at her house.
Yes. Well, thank you for that. And
thank
Steve,
you, Steve.
I hope you have a mental image now. And the last one is for me, and it's Jake. What are some ways that you use apple cider vinegar every day? And that's from Janet in Montana. Janet, Montana. This is something I literally drink every single day. I'll have 2 tablespoons, and you don't even have to measure it. I just put a big splash in a cup, and with water, with the Berkey filtered water at night. And so I'll drink that before I go to bed, and that really just kind of, whether I had a big meal or not, it kind of actually just kind of helps, soothe my stomach.
People have been swearing by that for years and years and years.
I love it. And if I know that I'm going to have a bad meal, I'll drink it beforehand, which really helps out. But then also one of my favorite recipes is boiled shrimp. I love shrimp. And so what I'll do is I put 2 cans of beer, like a little bit of water,
on the stove.
Yeah, on the stove. Bring it to a boil. I put some Old Bay seasoning in there, and I actually put a big splash of apple cider vinegar in there. And as David says, it actually it helps with the bones and kind of like the taking out the calcium, but also helps to bring the shrimp off of the shell. So it's easier to peel.
So you use pre-peeled shrimp, like the shrimp hasn't been peeled yet.
Yeah, I hate using pre-peeled shrimp. So it's actually, you can get them with the head on, but just stuff the shell on, because what actually happens is the water and all that goodness gets in between the shell and the meat.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
So it starts kind of like simmering in there, but you only have to like cook it like once it hits boiling, drop them in there. And I don't have to cook it for like 2 minutes. That's awesome.
That's awesome. I went to a crawfish boil the other night.
Oh,
sort of similar.
You have to
bite the head off.
We
twist the head off.
Twist the head off.
Suck the head, and then it was fun.
Yeah, it
was really fun. I posted a photo of it on our Instagram account. It was really fun, but it's kind of scary too.
Growing up in Virginia, we always did. We picked crabs. I love blue crabs, and it's a whole experience. Like it's not like you sit down like, oh, for 30 minutes we're just gonna sit here and eat and have a whole meal.
No, it's
like a whole
very
day.
Interactive.
You drink your cold beer, have your blue crabs, and it's so good.
Taking me back.
Well, that's gonna do it for us this week. You have your code on what to do for the Berkey filter. I'm not gonna tell you what it is now, because if you fast forwarded to the end, I'm not telling you. It's too late. So make sure that you get those submissions in,
and we will announce the winner next week on our podcast.
We will. And Megan, where can they find us?
You can find us online at thealternativedaily.com. We're going to post the podcasts there. The podcasts are also available on soundcloud.com. And of course, we are on iTunes. And again, we have been rated on iTunes. Please give us a rating on iTunes or leave a comment on SoundCloud or alternativedaily.com. That is thealternativedaily.com. We're also on every single social media account you can think of: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest. So please connect with us, follow us, let us know what you think of everything. We really do love to talk to you guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much, Megan. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, Jake. I can't even say that with a straight face.
I guess it's not a pleasure. As soon as we get off this, she kind of like slams the microphone
and I just run out of here.
Just walk out.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm done. No, that's not how it is at all.
Well, everybody have a great week, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.